Man, oh man, all kinds of stuff popping off as we speak. The 49ers have signed 15 plus players to their practice squad. We have other players who aren't returning to the San Francisco 49ers. We've got players who've been claimed. And the biggest rumor of them all is Brandon Aiyuk practicing today. Boy, oh boy, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but I do think it's worth talking about because this is appears to be a very interesting situation right now with this whole unbelievable thing that is going on. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about who uh, made the practice squad, who doesn't appear to be coming back, and everything in between. Dropping SDS in the chat, smash that like button. We got a lot of stuff to talk about before we hear from Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, and the 49ers practice today. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Oh boy, these last 24 hours or so has been a whirlwind of news. So, as we know, the 53-man roster was cut yesterday. Today has been about building out practice squads and continuing to make roster maneuvers and all that kind of stuff. So, uh let's see. Let's get into it. I'm trying to figure out. We'll get into the Brandon Aiyuk stuff for sure, but let's talk about some of the moves that were made today so far. We just got a bunch right as we were getting ready to come on. So the big news, unfortunately, for some of the players that aren't here anymore, is they were claimed by others. So we saw Jarrett Kingston get claimed by the Panthers. Samuel Womack got claimed by the Colts. And we saw Cody Schrader get claimed by the Rams. And then Jalen Graham reunites with Adam Peters in Washington. So just reacting to these couple ones. Tough to lose Jarrett Kingston to the Panthers. Tough to lose Cody Schrader to the Rams. I think it's fascinating because I was talking about this offseason how Cody Schrader's running style reminded me of Blake Corum's. And, you know, Blake Corum was drafted by the Rams. And now they've got Blake Corum and Blake Corum at home in Cody Schrader. So that's an unfortunate situation. Again, like, were these guys, any of these guys, to be going to be any massive contributors to the 49ers success this year? Probably not. But they were talented players who had potential and upside. And that's why I dislike this particular day, is because you have to play the waiting game to see if your players are going to make it back around to the practice squad, which the 49ers have signed 15 plus. We'll talk about that as well. But as it stands right now, when it comes to these guys, yeah, tough losing some of these guys. And again, I like their upside. I like their upside. They probably weren't going to do anything this year for us, but this is how I feel. This meme perfectly represents my emotional status when I see developmental players that I like go elsewhere. So We'll see what the outcome ultimately is. Might have no impact, might have an impact. Um, we'll get to that in a second. So this is the list of players who the San Francisco 49ers have brought in for the practice squad. So let's talk about these guys. Um, as you can see, you got Isaac on the offensive line. He's an international pathway player, so he doesn't count against anything for the San Francisco 49ers. He's like a roster exemption based on how that all plays out. Um, so nothing crazy there. But I do like the fact that we got Evan Anderson back, the undrafted free agent defensive tackle. I thought he played well. That's a good one. Defensive lineman Alex Barrett, perennial practice squad guy, but love him on this team. Glad he's sticking around. Jonathan Garvin was a late add in camp. Actually, really liked what I saw from Garvin. I could see him getting some playing time as well. Also, Sebastian Gutierrez, solid depth on the offensive line. Chase Lucas, back to the practice squad. That's fine. I like that they kept undrafted free agent Jalen Mahoney. Tay Martin, I like. T.Y. McGill, glad he was able to come back around. A lot of fans were excited to see that Tanner Mordecai was back on the practice squad. Drake Nugent was back on the practice squad. Also, Mason Pline, Trent Taylor. Tracy Walker has returned, but they're already talking about how Tracy Walker will likely get called up to for game day. So there it does kind of sound like the 49ers could already be anticipating Talanoa Hufanga not being ready for week one. So that's something to keep an eye on. Tight end Brandon Willis was able to come back, and I did see you guys kind of talking about it in the chat. The 49ers were able to snag Terrace Marshall, former second round draft pick out of LSU. A lot of people liked Terrace Marshall. I was indifferent on him coming out. Didn't love him, didn't hate him. Thought he was kind of middle of the pack when it comes to wide receiver prospects. But 6'3", 200 pounds, runs fast, has great length. He hasn't produced really all that much in the last 3 years in the NFL. What is Terrace Marshall cooking? So in the last 3 seasons with the Carolina Panthers, he has 64 receptions, 767 yards, and a touchdown. Just never really was able to do much of anything. Again, a lot of upside for Terrace, but just hasn't been realized. And so we'll see what his integration is like, see if he sticks around, see if we actually see him on the field. Obviously the 49ers adding wide receivers and all that stuff kind of leads us into our next conversation of this whole Brandon Aiyuk situation. So apparently Mike Garafolo believes that Brandon Aiyuk will practice today. I saw this from KNBR through Greg Papa, where he says the word is that the plan is the 49ers are treating this like the first day of Jets week, that Brandon Aiyuk is going to practice today. So I don't know what that means. I don't know at all if that means we're about to get a a Brandon Aiyuk massive update, that we're also going to see that Brandon is at practice and then boom, we're going to get an update of a contract extension. Honestly, I don't know what to make of that, because if he's practicing without a new deal, that would make me more inclined to believe that he is actually playing on his 5th year option, um, and intends to play on his 5th year option, I guess. Because yeah, I just don't see I don't know what the benefit would be of him practicing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what to really make of that. Does it mean the deal's almost done? I'm not putting any weight into that either. I'm literally have removed all expectation from the Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams contract sagas. I'm not getting my hopes up. I've learned my lesson 14 million times throughout this situation. So when it happens, it happens. But I do find it interesting that this has came out from Mike Garafolo, who's been pretty on point, who's been on point for the most part with all the Brandon Ayuk news. So that's the expectation. So now what you have before the 49ers are set to practice, I think around 3 o'clock it is, because we're going to hear from Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch before that. Um, that it does seem like that I don't know, man. I don't know. What does it all mean? Why are we still talking about it? I have no idea. Oh, but we will hear from Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, and then practice after. So I assume there are going to be some questions fielded at both John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan about Brandon Ayuk's status update. And I think they're gonna, I would assume the media would be drilling both of these guys about the situation. You know, that would be my expectation. I would expect a lot of Brandon Ayuk questions, a lot of Trent Williams questions, and honestly, I don't mind it. I think there needs to be some clarification. I think fans deserve some clarification on what's happening here, because like this has just been uh just an ongoing cluster for months now, and now we're hearing the tone change with Trent Williams and the optimism that was surrounding that. And now it's been what, like over 2 weeks since Brandon Ayuk was hypothetically traded to the Steelers, according to Ian Rappaport. So, and if the 49ers are treating this week like game week, then that's pretty important information to know if two of your key starters are going to be available for week 1 against the Jets. I think the other news that we'll be keeping an eye out for is Talanoa Hufanga. Will he be cleared to practice? He might not. He could. Um, I'm hopeful that Talanoa Hufanga returns, but it doesn't it sounds like they're kind of letting us know that it might not be the case with Talanoa. So we need to get Talanoa Hufanga in practice. Like that's the huge aspect, is he needs to get out there. But so do Trent Williams, and so do Brandon Ayuk. So what was the date that we went to with Nick Bosa's contract? It was, I believe, the 9th or the 6th. Basically the 6th. So we're almost a week away uh, from that deadline of when Nick Bosa uh, signed. But that wasn't ideal. So the hope is that we don't duplicate this situation again. Oh, oh gosh. Oh yeah. I forgot to talk about this. There were a couple players who didn't get re-signed to the 49ers practice squad, and it was multiple third rounders. Third round draft pick Cameron Latu to the Browns. And right now, Danny Gray has removed all things San Francisco 49ers from everything. So Danny has done a full cleanse of 49ers from their from his socials. So to me, that means Danny Gray is on the outside looking in. He posted a video or a photo of him like walking, like looks like with his bags packed, like walking out, um, with the song title Philadelphia. So yes, we understand how social media works. We understand how subliminal messaging works via social media. The message is clear. It does not appear that that we will be seeing Danny Gray return. So just an unfortunate situation playing out with the 49ers third round draft picks, man. I don't know what it is. Thankfully, Dominic Pooney appears to be able to kind of rewrite some of the wrongs of the 49ers third round draft picks since Fred Warner. But man, everything in between has been really difficult. This is the image that I was talking about. He posted this with his bags walking out. Song titled Philadelphia, talking about being an Eagle. And like I said, he removed all things 49ers from his page and doesn't follow the 49ers anymore. So I think it's pretty crystal clear that Danny Gray is finito with the 49ers, which I liked Danny Gray coming out of SMU. I really did. I thought he had talent. I thought he had speed. I thought he would have been a good fit here, but unfortunately, Danny Gray is everything that apparently Jacob Cowing is not. So the 49ers found what they were looking for in Cowing, what I think they were assuming Danny Gray was going to be. So it is what it is. Like, I don't think anyone's losing sleep. I don't think anyone's losing sleep over a guy who had one catch for 6 yards over his career. It's just more so of the process, like, listen, you're going to hit and you're going to miss. That is a part of the draft process. So I'm not going to sit here and, like, think that I'm smarter than anyone because the 49ers have had just such rough success in that particular round. But I would like to pose to Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch. I say we let the content creators draft the third round one year. Why not? Oh, I could see Jacob Cowing in 6. You know what else I could see Jacob Cowing wearing? Number 13. If you know, you know. But I'm just saying, can we let the content creators draft one? Let me get a third round. I guarantee you we'll get someone. We'll get someone good for the culture. I promise. If they said, Brad, you can take the third round, I'll be like, all right, I'll study every prospect in that range and I'll come up with a good one. I know, I guarantee it. I would have drafted Jair Brown. That was a hit in my opinion. That was a draft crush in my opinion. That's who I would have taken in the third round. I would have traded up for Jair Brown. So that process aligned with mine. But, would I have taken Jake Moody? Probably not. But thankfully, it appears Jake Moody is working out. So that's all I care about. I would have taken Nick Saldiveri. That was my guy. I would have taken him there in the third round. I also would have taken Davis Allen, the tight end out of Clemson, who's now the backup to Colby Parkinson with the Rams, who has a lot of upside. Nick Saldivari is a starting guard for the Saints. So hey, I mean, not every one of them's a hit, but I think I could do well. I think I could do well. I didn't like the Latu pick. I thought the Latu pick was the unfortunate pick in real time. It was one I didn't really understand. I felt like he was like a sixth round prospect at best. So that one was a little bit confusing. And unfortunately it didn't pan out. And we for whatever reason, man, we're turning and burning these third rounders. Turning and burning third rounders. TDP, Sermon, Gray, Latu. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? And again, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I have 100% hit rate. I get players wrong too. So I'm not gonna sit here and throw stones from a glass home or whatever the hell the saying is. I know how difficult it is. I know how challenging it is. I know all the factors that go into it make it difficult. But yeah, there's some things that, at minimum, let us throw our input in there. Just let us be like, well, this is who we would take. you get a call from John Lynch. So, Brad, what are the content creators thinking with the third round draft pick? Well, we've kind of come together, and these are like the pool of players that we all agree on are good, and then this is how we rank them. And no, just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not that cocky. I'm not that much of a know-it-all. I'm having some fun. All right. Bear with me. Anyways. Oh, dude, just let me hang out. Just let me vibe. And I'll just whisper. I'll like pass notes to John. I won't say anything. I'll just pass notes. I'll be like, did you look at this guy? Check out this guy. What about him? What about this guy? They would kick me out so fast. They'd be like, get out of here. Get out of here. Come on, man. Just let me have one. Yeah, Kyle would drill me about all the things that are wrong with the prospect that I like, and then I'll just be like, yeah, I'm not smart. Well, you're right, Kyle. This guy stinks. This isn't true. Although I do fundamentally believe you can find starting offensive linemen in rounds 3 through 5 every year. That's not necessarily true. I would definitely have some fun with that, though. Anyways, what other questions do you guys have? We are 10 minutes away from Kyle Shanahan speaking to the media. So I'm very, very interested in that situation, and how that's all playing out and what he's going to be saying. So again, I would imagine there's going to be a lot of Brandon Aiyuk. There's going to be a lot of Trent Williams questions. There's going to be like, what's the update? What's the holdup? Why this is concerning. How should all of us who are on the outside looking in process this? How do we talk about this? But I imagine if there's nothing of note, to share, then there's nothing. We're not going to get anything. So, unfortunately, Gammon, appreciate the super chat. Says Feliciano 1. When will we have him back on? I think he will be placed. I don't think he's officially been placed on IR, but that's the expectation. And he will have the ability to return, from my understanding, based on the new rules, or he'll just be. He didn't get placed on IR before. So I expect Feliciano to be out minimum 4 weeks. Then they can designate to return after that. Gammon says, would love to hear his transition from East Coast to West Coast. Should he be our starting center? Hey, they were toying with that idea in training camp. I saw the rotation, and then unfortunately for John, he was hurt. So they were toying with that idea. They've toyed with Feliciano at center, and they've toyed with a combination of Ben Barch and Zakel at center. So I don't think, and I said this to as well. I expect Brendel to get the start at center, but I don't expect Brendel to have a long leash. Again, just based on how I've seen them rotate Brendel throughout training camp, it makes me believe that they're toying with the idea of someone else start at center. But all that being considered, I still believe they're going to give Brendel every opportunity to lose the job. So I still think it will be Brendel week 1. Beyond week 1, not really sure what that will look like, and if the 49ers will try someone else. So I know Brendel's been banged up. He had the knee tendonitis early on. You want to see Brendel be able to have positive contributions this year. That's my hope. He started out last season really good. I assume he got injured somewhere along the way. He might still be dealing with some injuries, so it's a tough situation there. But I could see Feliciano, if he's able to return, being healthy, being able to come on. What's more important in this offense, center or right tackle? I would say center, to be honest. I am a former center, so I also speak from that perspective. Obviously, I understand how important tackles are. Playing on an island is very difficult. It's very challenging. But as a former center myself, I understand, especially on this offense where you have to call out the protections, and you have to get your guys in the right position. You're the quarterback of the offensive line, so you got to be able to get your guys in the right spot. And then, there's a lot of digging out defensive tackles, nose tackles. That's really hard, especially in the NFL when they're all fast, they're all strong, and they all have got technique. It's a hard position to have to snap and block when they're already closer to you, because when you look at the guards and the centers, they're like a half a body behind the center. And so as a center, you almost want to put the ball out as far in front of you as possible, so that you can push the defensive tackle further away from you. Because if you have the ball like literally right under your helmet, the defensive lineman could literally line up this close to you. And so he's keying on the ball. You got to snap. They can get into your chest right away. So having a good center, because if you have a good center, you're not getting penetration on interior runs. So it helps your run game. It helps your calls and pass protection. I would have to say center would be the most important out of those two. Gammon, appreciate the super chats. Says chat wants to know, can Clooney play tackle? Yeah, he can play tackle. He was a tackle when he's drafted. Now, I would say this kind of similarly to like when I was scouting Burford. Burford wasn't a tackle to me, wasn't a tackle at all. And when I was watching Pooney, I thought he should also be interior because of his technique and pass protection. He doesn't have a natural kick step. Kick step is imperative for pass protection for tackles. You got to be able to get back in your stance. He doesn't really have a natural pass set. Like it's not a natural kick step. And it was one of the things that I was like, oh, that's interesting. He's good. Like he's good in pass protection. He holds up, but he doesn't have the technique that you would expect a tackle to have. He played tackle like a guard, if that makes sense. So that's why I thought it made the most sense for him to kick inside and to be able to play that way. So he can play tackle. I think he could probably play tackle, right tackle or left tackle in a pinch. But I think he'll be best suited at this level on the interior. Chris says, Brad, I know you hated the Steelers trade offer, but they seem to be talking with Houston about wide receivers. The trade offer for Aiyuk will be pulled soon. All right. Well, I remember, Chris, you asked me about this the other day. I was like, I think the trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers is dead. I think it's dead in the water. I think it's only being discussed because it's a point of leverage for a particular side in the negotiation. I've thought for over a week now that trade to the Steelers is dead. I think all it is right now is currently just a leverage play. I don't think the 49ers are going to trade Brandon Aiyuk because they're going to take an L if they trade Brandon Aiyuk, and the 49ers aren't interested in taking L's in trades. So that's been my logic behind why the Steelers aren't a thing, is because they're not going to take a loss. And if you're trading Brandon Aiyuk for draft picks, it's a loss. If you're trading Brandon Aiyuk at the end of August for draft picks, that's a loss. That doesn't help you. You're only getting worse. You're not getting better. And an unfortunate situation. Brian says, just watch the Patrick Willis interview. You killed it, Brad. Bummed I couldn't catch it live. I had a ton of fun talking with Patrick Willis earlier today. If you missed it, you can check it out and watch it back on the channel. Wow, dude, when we started talking about Candlestick, man, that's what it's all about. I love watching players kind of break through their shell. I think, it's kind of an unnatural environment sometimes to be sitting in a camera and like a Zoom kind of experience, and you're just kind of going back and forth. And I felt like I broke through when we started talking about Candlestick, and I was like, yes. You could see he was going back. He was like picturing what it was like coming out of the tunnel. I was like, yeah, this is what we like. We like getting that type of perspective from former legends and just how they see the game, how they do all that stuff. I didn't order one, but I believe I should have one coming tomorrow. I should have one coming tomorrow. Yeah, I love that part too. That was great. That was great. You know what I meant. You know what I meant. We the dude just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's a forever legend. You know what I meant. You should have seen yesterday's live. You would have enjoyed that one as well. All right. So we're officially on standby for Kyle Shanahan. He's not live yet. So the second that Kyle goes live, I'm gonna shut this stream down. We'll listen to Kyle. We'll listen to John Lynch talk about the situation, and then from there, we will react. Uh, are we going to get any news from Brandon Aiyuk? Debo Samuel, is Brandon Aiyuk practicing? I wonder if Kyle's going to say. I wonder if he's going to say, "I expect Brandon Aiyuk to practice." That would be interesting for him to be like, "I expect BA to practice," and then we're like, "Well, does that mean he's going to?" And then if he doesn't, then it's like, oh boy. Oh boy, sound the alarms. Uh Gammon says, when someone asks for your autograph, feelings, um, extremely flattered that someone would ask me for my autograph, first of all. Second of all, I get nervous because signing autographs, it's becoming more normal, but when it first like happened, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what's my autograph?" I was like, "Wait, what do I do with my hands?" I was like, "What do you want me to sign? Are you sure?" I'm like, "There's like I'm like they'll have me sign things where there's like 49ers players and they'll be like, "Can you sign this right here?" I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure you want uh me to sign this?" And they're like, "Yeah, come on, man." I'm like, "All right." Like, "All right. I will. I will." But yeah, it I've gotten more used to it now, but at first, it was hilarious because one guy had me sign his shoe. I've signed some interesting things too, but it has been pretty funny. Uh, it's been experience to say the least, though. I appreciate the support from everyone, man. It's crazy. It's a crazy experience. Just like going to camp just to watch ball and people showing a lot of love shown this year in camp. All right. We've got Kyle Shanahan coming through. All right, everyone go bomb the 49ers chat with SDS. I'm going to hop in there. We got Kyle Shanahan talking to the media right now, and we'll be back to react to it when it's all over. Go let him know where you're coming from. Oh, Kyle Shanahan said he hopes Brandon Aiyuk will practice today. All right, let's see. I'm out.